Hey, good morning. I would just start with this. This obviously is I talked to some of you last night, but this is a great opportunity for our staff, as well as all involved to showcase kind of what our guys can do and to grow and to get better, but also to work with the talent that's here, knowing that we'll be in position to have a few moves in the draft, and certainly these guys are very much a part of that. So this has been good 2 days in, and we're about halfway through. So
You handed the reins off to Deuce, obviously, this week. So what does your work week look like? What is your focus throughout this week?
well, I got out of bed about 3 minutes ago, ran down here. No, this has been good because what it does is I actually just left the meeting with Brad, so we're you know we're talking about free agents. We're still talking about other guys that are going to be involved in the draft that aren't at the Senior Bowl, and so like the work doesn't stop just because we're here, and so that actually helps me, frees up some of my time to be involved with kind of all of it, from this to what they're doing a little bit of, and then certainly go out to practice, meeting with other coaches, and then certainly at practice, what's hard is not to jump in a little bit, but it does help. Like yesterday, we spent most of the time, Brad and I, on the field, and he's got more intimate knowledge on some of these guys than I do. And so just to be able to watch and somebody catches your eye and then he gives you kind of the intel, so it's very beneficial for me. It helps. Deuce is doing a great job. He really is. And Deuce was, listen, Deuce is all, he's all go, man. And so he was excited about this. He accepted the challenge. And look, I told him from day one, I said, look, this is yours. I said, if you need anything, let me know. But I want you handle it. And so he scheduled everything. He did the logistics as it pertains to what we're doing on the field and meeting with the players and all that. And he's knocked it out of the park. He's a stud. Yeah, no, that's something he wanted to do. And we've kind of, there's a certain way that we do things where we're at, but that's his own spin, his own flavor into it. We're big into competition, and certainly Deuce is. He's big in competition and winning your one-on-one. So, and then somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose, and there's a price to be paid either way. Absolutely. I mean, you definitely look at that, and I mean, it's living proof that it can be done, and it is there. And look, I just came from a place that's what we did. I mean, when I got to New Orleans in '16, they had been 7-9 for a few years in a row, and then we hit on some draft picks, man. Mike Thomas and AK and McCoy and Davenport and Lattimore and Marcus, and all of a sudden, man, you draft in a couple of years and you can just totally flip the script. With what's already there, or you add a couple of free agents, and if you do it right in the draft, all of a sudden, man, you catch lightning in a bottle. Yeah, I've met Coach Ebersflew. I don't know him personally, but I know him from afar, and I know what his system is about. I know what he believes in, and I know where he came from, so I know he's a hell of a coach, and he's very demanding, and it's all effort, energy, smart football, and so I mean look, it'll be it's going to be tough. Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's you take each year as it comes, and every year it's going to be a challenge. And it's just like every year everybody assumes that you know who's going to be in the playoffs, who's not, and there'll be a few teams we all know. I mean, that's how it works every year. There'll be these 4 or 5 teams, there's a damn good chance they're going to be there. But other than that, man, anything can change, and you don't know how your schedule's going to be laid out. You don't know what's going to happen with injuries. You don't know how much you've developed or they've developed or lacked of developing. And so, man, you take it as it comes, and all we got to do is improve, add to the roster, and keep developing. And hey, man, anything can happen. Yeah, I honestly, I don't even want to get into that because I don't know all the ins and outs to that. My time in Miami was good. I didn't have any. There was no. I can't think of any negative interactions I had with Steve Ross or anybody involved there. So I've really got nothing to speak on. Look, we got enough of our own things going on here that we got to do without thinking about all that stuff outside of our building. So.
And you talked last night about your nervousness of possibly losing AG to the Saints.
Sure.
But given what Aubrey's shown out here through this season and then now in this opportunity for expanded role, is it comforting knowing you have him potentially as a fallback option defensive coordinator if it gets to that?
Yeah, no, it is. I think a lot of AP. I really do, and he's got a bright future ahead of him, and yeah, it's certainly that helps. And look, we got Todd Wash as well, and who's done it and had success, and but yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, it helps a lot. To think about, well, what happens, because you got to have a contingency plan, and so to know that you have somebody or feel like you've got one or two in the building that can step up and serve that role, it does make you feel better. Go ahead, I can't. Yeah, I think, well, look, I think somebody is identifying where you really need help on your roster is one, and we're doing it. We've began to do that, but that'll be kind of this process. We'll go through this process over the next month. You start to figure out what do we really need, where do we need help at, and then how do you attack it? Is it free agency? Is it the draft? And which is what all this is right now. And so we're kind of in the infant stages of this right now. But I think that's number one. And then number two is improving all of us. That includes me. And what can we be better at? What do I need to do a better job of as being a head coach? Shoot, AG, he was already. I mean, I went in, we gave him the week off, gave him 10 days off, and so I was in the office, and there's AG, and he'd already gone through their whole self-scout, and so it's the wheels are already turning. How do we get better, and how do we help our guys have success? Listen, yesterday was the first day of practice with him, and I think he throws a nice ball. I think he's pretty athletic. He's built better than, from afar you don't know. That's why to be able to see these guys up close. He's a good-looking player, man. He's built right. Looks like he's built to last. He handled our playbook pretty dang good yesterday. We had a couple of run checks in there, and defensively, we had a couple of pressure looks too that I thought he handled. So look, day one, did a good job. I thought, honestly, though, all three of those guys did a pretty good job. Listen, so you can't do this to me because all I'm going to do is, I love AG. I do not want to lose AG. That's how much I think of him and what he's brought to us and the life that he's given our defense and knowing where it's going to go. But I'm just telling you, the guy's going to be a home run as a head coach. He's passionate. He's smart. He's got a good feel of personnel, how to use his own guys. He's kind of been trained the way I have to think of it collectively, offense, defense, and special teams, you know, that everything's involved and there's a certain way you play a game and everything is tied into the other, as opposed that you win one way or another. You know, you only win with this unit. So, and man, he's organized. He's organized. He's thorough. He's, you know, he's kind of a chess player, if you will, and he's always ahead of the game. So I love AG, and I don't want to lose him, but he would be an outstanding head coach.
Coach, obviously it's a great opportunity for you and the staff to come out here and scout players and talent, but you having such a passion for football, how good are you to be able to be down here and impart words of wisdom for what these young men are about to embark on in the draft and getting into the NFL?
Well, yeah, I don't know if I'm a man of wisdom, but no, I mean, you try to give little tidbits to them that'll help them. I mean, you know, unfortunately, I didn't get invited to the Senior Bowl as a player, but I do know what this game means, and I know what this time means. So you want to help those guys. I mean, you don't want to hold anything back. You want to tell them exactly what, man, the coaches and the scouts are looking for, every little thing, and even the things that you may not think are being looked at, you know, your body demeanor, the way you react after a catch or after an interception, or if you blow an assignment, or if you jump, like just the next play, not the one that you just did, the mistake that you made, but how do you handle it, those things. And so look, I just want to help, and I want to help them be the best player they can be and help their status, and hopefully we find a few guys here that can help us. Yeah, look, I was excited, and so were they. You know, there again, for me, it gives me a chance to. I mean, we were, you know, whatever, 2 or 3 weeks out of the season, and so you're just trying to. You're trying to kind of wrap your head around everything that's just transpired, and I think not to have to think about going right into that and structuring everything, that certainly helped me. But then knowing there again, I don't have to worry about all the little minutia that comes with that, and I can just purely evaluate. I can evaluate my coaches because now they're all one up, you know, and watch Deuce being a head coach and watch AP being D coordinator, Ben Johnson OC, but even our young guys now that are taking on, we've got some of our defensive assistants or QCs that are now position coaches. So we've tried to do it every way that we can. And I can actually evaluate those guys and see how they handle the room. And now that you know, you're the one who's got to make those decisions, and you're the one who's coaching those guys. And so that's been big. But Deuce was good, you know. Deuce is it's hard to contain his excitement at times, believe it or not. And but he was good, man. He was ready for the challenge, and so I know he's excited, but he's handled it well, and it'll only get better as the week goes here. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything that I learned that I didn't already know was there, and I mean that in a positive. Like, I knew what I was getting. I knew I was getting a guy who was a hard worker. I knew I was a guy. He was a grinder. He was smart. He was knowledgeable. I know that every time. Just about everybody you put in his room, no matter if he's been drafted or is a free agent, they develop. He did that at Philly. He's done that for us. And so he understands how to develop talent, and he knows how to talk to these players. He knows how to communicate. And then, you know, some of the things that I asked him to do were just things he hasn't done, and no different than when I was at New Orleans. I did things that I had never been asked to do necessarily, and Sean allowed me to do that, and you grow from it, you know, and then it helps you to understand what questions to ask. You don't know, sometimes you don't know what to look for until you've been asked to do it, or you've been put in that role. So he's been good, and look, you know, and I've given him a lot of opportunities to stand in front of the team and deliver keys to victory and talk to the team before we go out on the field. And then there again, he puts out some fires that I don't even know about. You know, that's kind of part of being where he's at, assistant head coach. I mean, that was the same thing I did for Sean. So that stuff is very beneficial. But I think Deuce is another one that certainly is. I think he'll be a head coach in this league, and I think he'll be a damn good one because he's a leader. He's a leader of men.
Last one over here, guys.
Yeah, look, Yeah, I mean, look, Sean was my mentor, man, and I think the world of him. I learned more under Sean than any other coach in my time as a player. I was with him for 8 years of my 11-year career as a player under him, and then to coach under him for 5 years. I got both facets of it as a player and a coach, and so really everything that I am or what I'm about or the way I think really does come from him in a sense, and so. I just know anybody that had been in that area, man, when he came in, and that thing was hit hard by Katrina, and it was so much deeper than even turning the place around to win, and you win a Super Bowl. But man, I felt like it really pulled the community together and got them back on their feet, and I think there's something to be said about that. It'll never be forgotten, and but. I think he was always ahead of the game. He was innovative. He knew how to pull the most out of his players. He knows how to give his players to put them in position to have success better than anybody I've ever been around. He knows how to use the totality of the roster on game day. And I think his ability to know that, hey, man, this is what this player needs. This player needs a boot in the rear, or this player needs a hug, or this – just on how to motivate. I think those are things you never forget. And so I know this, they're going to miss him. They're going to miss him across the way. I do know that, but I think he'll be back at some point. I do. He'll be back in the seat. So. Could he help me? Oh yeah, certainly I could, and I think he would be. Look, I know that he would help me. He's said that over and over. It's like, man, whenever you need anything, you hit me up. And certainly now he's got more time to listen, so that's a good thing. But I'll use him. He's already told me, he goes, hey, man, I'll see you in the spring. And so I don't know when that'll be. I don't know if he'll be in shorts. I don't know if he'll have a margarita in his hand. I don't know. But we'll see him, and we'll certainly sit down and talk with him and use him. But, I think the world of him, man. I think he's another legend in this league. I really do.
Hey, Dan, you've been on part of organizations that haven't answered quarterback, star quarterback, and others are still searching. When you go into the building, speaking broadly, what's the difference in mindset knowing you have that position locked down versus still trying to figure it out?
Well, I think you don't feel like you have to chase anything. I think that's important to know that you don't feel like you're chasing maybe a quarterback in the draft or something, or you're having to chase somebody in free agency. You feel like you're almost in desperation mode. I think that's what helps, is to know that you have some stability, and now it's ultimately about finding the best players that fit your roster. And maybe it's quarterback, maybe it's linebacker, maybe it's cornerback, receiver. So I think that's what it does. It allows you to now find the best pieces. All right, somebody asked me about Mobile. All right, that came early. He left. All right. Well, it's been great. I love the city of Mobile. All right. Very hospitable, and like I say, we're excited to be here. And when you think of Senior Bowl, you do think of Mobile. It's what we've thought for years. So, anyway, it's been great. Appreciate it, everybody.